This New Hampshire radio host who went on a racial tirade as she was going to work. By the way, when you call somebody a radio host and they're on the air a couple days a week and they've never been paid in the radio business to do a radio show, I don't even like to call them a radio host. This lady is not a radio host. I'm just going to be clear on that. But even that aside, if you recall, yesterday we covered this on the show where she's walking to work and she attacks a bunch of people of Mexican descent because they weren't speaking English. I just want to refresh, and I want to play you a little bit of audio of what we're talking about in case you missed it yesterday. This is none other than, they call her Radio Karen, but her actual name is Dianna Ploss. This is what she did. This is why she lost her radio host job, if you want to call her a pretend radio host. This is the reason why. Have a listen to this.
You speaking English?
Well, a lot of them speak English, but I just like to speak Spanish.
Okay, but it is America.
It is America.
It is America. You should be speaking English. You should be speaking English. They work for the state. You should be speaking English. So this is a foreman working for this company, Morans. And he's speaking Spanish to these guys. So your tax dollars up here in New Hampshire. That's what's going on here. Are they in America?
Yes.
Okay, they should be speaking English.
Why? Who said what?
They should be speaking English.
Because what?
They should be speaking English. Are they illegal aliens? They don't speak the language?
What does speaking the language have to do with
Do
that?
they not speak the language?
So, to the credit of our listeners yesterday, it felt like we took 100 calls yesterday on this topic. To the credit of our listeners, Republican, Democrat, Trump supporter, Biden supporter, I would say 99% of the calls we got yesterday agreed with us that this woman is despicable and what she did was horrible and wrong and she deserved to be fired. To the credit of our smart listeners, we all were on the same page as far as that is concerned. So now, why are we bringing this up again? Why are we talking about her again? Well, she doubled down. She refuses to apologize. She put out a statement on Facebook, and we have that for you, and it is so despicable. Let me tell you, people like this are so predictable. They really are. People like Dianna Ploss talk about the deep state every day, talk about how Democrats are demons and Republicans are perfect. Staunch Donald Trump supporter, and in no way, shape, or form do I think that every Donald Trump supporter is race. I would never even come close to saying something like that. But this woman certainly is. But she's very predictable. As far as what I've seen and the articles I've read, she doesn't really have a full-time job. She probably inherited money from somebody, and then she pays to be on the radio, and she has no life, and she calls herself a patriot. Have a listen to this. This is none other than Dianna Ploss, known as Radio Karen, in New Hampshire, who spent the first several minutes of this Facebook non-apology thanking her supporters and discussing the fallout. Have a listen to this.
I know that a lot has transpired, but I want you to know that I am doing great. I am doing so great. We know that what these commies do, right? These commies and these fake Republicans and these leftists who want to shut us down, who want to destroy our country, right? You have seen what they have done to me. And you know what, fellas? I take it and I wear it as a badge of honor.
Okay, first of all, what is she talking about? Republicans didn't do anything to her. Democrats didn't do anything to her. She did it to herself. She made racist comments. This has nothing to do with politics. She made racist comments, and I'm strictly talking about the repercussions, the fact she's not on the radio anymore. She made racist remarks to a bunch of Mexican workers, screaming at them and yelling at them, speak English, and then continued to harass them and asked them if they were illegal. This has nothing to do with Republicans and Democrats. It's nothing to do with shutting her down. It has everything to do with her behavior. And I applaud the radio station for taking, I guess I shouldn't applaud them, but I think they'd made the right decision in not allowing her to be on the radio anymore. She calls herself a patriot. What is being a patriot? What is a patriot when you're a racist? How is that a patriot? And then she goes on and she issues her half-hearted public statement. Have a listen to this.
Here's what I have to say to those who have attacked me. Blank you. Blank you. Now get out of my way because I have a country to save. That's the end of Dianna Ploss's public statement.
That's a great public statement. I have a country to save. How are you going to do that? By screaming at people that are not speaking English? That's your way? Is that your way of saving the country? This woman is nuts. Seriously, she's got some mental problems. I want to read you a statement from the company that is now responding. The Mexican workers that are working for this company that she verbally assaulted, they're called Morons. They said, quote, "We recognize that any success we are able to achieve is only through the collaborative efforts of the many extremely talented and hardworking individuals who are not only native to our area, but also represent several countries and various cultures." Well said by that company. This woman is a disgrace. She's an absolute disgrace. She says on her website she founded the group MA for Trump back in 2016. She's listen, I don't care what her political affiliation is. I really don't. Because to me, that should have nothing to do with this story. The story is very simple, and it shouldn't be about Republican or Democrat. Obviously, she's going to make it about that. It shouldn't be about Republican or Democrat. What this story should be about is this. You have a woman, don't care what political party she's in. You have a woman who is clearly a pig and a racist, who said some horribly insensitive and racist things to some Mexicans for absolutely no reason other than the fact that she is a bigot and she thinks because you don't speak English in this country, she has the right to harass you. That's it. No Republican or Democrat issue there. She walks into the radio station and she walks out now and she's not on the air anywhere. And the most disgusting thing about this woman is that she's bragging about it and she's gloating about it. And she probably wants a retweet from the president. She's gloating about it. She put up her TMZ story on her page. This woman has mental problems. So my question is this to you, JD, and to the callers, and I'll open up the phone lines at 702-257-5396. Again, that number, 257-5396. What do you make of her statement? Do you take that for what it is, and do you think even lesser of her than you did before? Blank you. Now get out of my way because I have a country to save. My question to the listeners, what do you make of that? You think this woman should ever be allowed to be back on the radio again? And are you comfortable with the fact that, yeah, some point down the road, some radio station might allow her to be on the radio again? Thoughts on that? 702-257-5396. Again, that number, 257-5396. JD, what do you make of that non-apology?
Yeah, I mean, I said yesterday I thought this was an attempted publicity stunt by her, and I stick by that. Why would she film herself saying that unless she was hoping to share that on X amount of platforms and to pick up a following, a very, very fringe, following, alt-right following, if you will, from it. And that's clearly, that was her goal from day one. Now, do I think that she'll get a job in radio? Probably not in New Hampshire. I suppose it's possible maybe in Alabama or Georgia or a state like that. But no, I don't think that she will get a job in radio in New Hampshire. I think that she should have been fired for what she did. And again, she is trying to build herself a platform by being very, very bigoted and by being racist and prejudiced. And again, we talked about this yesterday. It's not a bad thing to speak Spanish in the United States. If I spoke Spanish, and I'm Caucasian, if I spoke Spanish, fluently, and I wanted to get a job at a major corporation, I'd get paid probably $20,000 to $25,000 to $30,000 more a year if I did. So the fact that it's kind of an oxymoron how she approached this situation, and she is making fun of these people who are just doing landscaping work, yard work. They're just doing their job and they're communicating amongst themselves because that's their ethnicity and their culture, and they maybe don't speak the best English. Now, did she think that they were speaking about her in some way that she couldn't understand? I have no idea. Obviously, she has severe mental problems, and she is trying to build a platform for herself. This is an example of how social media has gone wrong for a lot of people.
All right, so let me ask you this. Would it be really out of realm or bad for the President of the United States to call somebody like this out and say, I disavow you, hate, racism, bigotry, there's no place for that in this country? Why can't the president just do that? Obviously, this is a national story. And make no mistake about it, by the way, this woman is not the only one that feels this way in this country. Sadly, there are a lot of bigoted, racist people on the planet, And I've seen it with my own eyes.
But that goes both ways, Brian.
I didn't say it didn't go both ways.
So
That's not a defense.
You're implying that there's only these type of people that would support the president, and that's just there's actually a lot of bigoted, racist people.
I don't know why you assume that.
That would support Joe Biden.
I don't know why you would assume that. I never said that, but it just so happens that the person we're talking about is a Donald Trump supporter.
Right.
And by the way, I don't care if she's a Trump supporter. I don't care if this woman could be. Hold on a second.
Then why is it part of the conversation?
Okay, I'll tell you why. I will answer that question. Let's just assume for a second that this woman was a Joe Biden supporter. I would still ask for the same thing of Donald Trump. He's the president of the United States. I don't care who this woman supports politically. What I do care is that the president of the United States call out bigotry and racism. This is a national story. It is. And it's not just about this woman, this horrific pig. It is about people in this country, regardless of their political affiliation, regardless of the color of their skin. It's about people in this country that will look at another person, and maybe will hear another language in this case, and make assumptions about them like she did. Are you illegal? Speak English. There are people throughout the country, luckily not the majority. I'd like to think that America is a much better place than that to live. But there are people in this country that feel the same way this woman feels. And I'm not talking about her political beliefs. I'm talking about her bigotry and her racism. And all I'm simply saying is, why can't the president talk a little bit more about this? I would praise him and I would say, good job, Mr. President. And I would be so happy if he just got up there in the middle of a press conference, doesn't have to be just about this, and just say, I just want to I just want to address this. Okay. I just want to address this. This woman who did something that was wrong, I disavow her. There's no place for that in society. And I would say to myself, wow, that's leadership. Why can't he do that? I don't think that's asking too much, is it? Take 10 seconds out of your day and do that. That's all I'm asking. I don't think, as the president of the United States, I don't think I'm asking too much. I really don't. Do you think that's unreasonable?
Well, I think that he's going to offer a pathway to citizenship for about 700,000 at a minimum who are currently under DACA. And when that takes place, I think that's much more valuable than disavowing one particular person, Brian.
It's not about one particular person.
Well, you just said it wasn't. And I expect
No, I didn't.
I expect you to praise the president.
No, I didn't. Hold on. When you're talking about DACA, that's completely different right now.
It's absolutely not. No,
that's not what I'm talking about.
I expect you to praise the president when he does create a pathway to citizenship for those who are whose status is in limbo under DACA currently.
We are not talking about Donald Trump's policies right now. We are talking about a basic leadership quality, which is to disavow one of your supporters. And it's not just about her, as I've said. It's about a lot of people in this country, sadly, that think if you don't speak the language, you're probably illegal. And harassing those that don't look like you and don't sound like you. Right. It has nothing to do with his policy. I want to focus on this incident.
Well, and I'm saying you would praise him for that. I'm telling you, well, then I expect you to praise him when in a couple of weeks he does decide to create a pathway to citizenship
but that's
for
a different...
the nearly million, if not more than that, under DACA right now that have a limbo in their citizenship status. So he actually gives them the opportunity to become citizens of the United States. I expect you to praise him under those circumstances.
But number one, that's a different subject.
When that takes place.
Number one, that's a different subject. Number two, I'm not going to praise him to this point for anything he's done with illegals, especially when he calls Mexicans rapists and bad people, and I suppose some of them are good people. No, I'm not going to praise him, just like I wouldn't praise the Barack Obama administration for the way he handled illegals as well. If he does something great down the road, fine. But that wasn't my question. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about now. Again, my question now is why can't the president of the United States call out bigotry and racism? I think that would go a long way. And I think this woman clearly is that. And sadly, there are a lot of other people in society, those who defend the Confederate flag, those who are so upset that NASCAR has banned the Confederate flag, which is a joke, which is ridiculous.
I think NASCAR fans are much more upset about the fact that Bubba Wallace called them white supremacists and racists with no documentation that there was a hate crime that was committed.
Bubba Wallace called NASCAR fans white supremacists?
Bubba Wallace called them simple-minded people who are afraid of change. He doubled down on a statement after he released that particular story. Yeah, NASCAR came to him, but Bubba Wallace is the one that
Okay,
took that
so-
story and made it public.
So
with
here's
the-
my question.
with no proof whatsoever.
So here's my
that
question.
it was actually a hate crime.
So
Brian.
here's my question. Why is it?
I'm saying that's
Okay,
why
I
that's
understand
why
what you're
that's why
saying.
NASCAR
I understand.
fans are
Okay.
I'm sure
I don't wanna get into a NASCAR
there are
debate.
some NASCAR fans who are disappointed about the Confederate flag, but many
Okay.
more NASCAR fans
Okay.
are angry that Bubba Wallace
Okay.
decided
Well-
to go public with that without any
Okay.
proof that it was
So
an
here's-
actual hate crime.
so here's my
and
question.
vilify an entire fan base in the process.
So here's my question. Why is it when we're talking about the Confederate flag and we're talking about the President of the United States who defended the Confederate flag on Twitter a week and a half ago, why is it that the first thing that enters your mind is going after Bubba Wallace? I don't understand that.
Again, you mentioned NASCAR fans being angry about the Confederate flag. I'm saying
Well, the president is as well.
I'm saying NASCAR fans are much more angry about what happened with Bubba Wallace.
Well, the president mentioned
there
it.
may be a small amount that are angry about the Confederate flag.
The president mentioned it. The president mentioned it in a tweet. It was certainly on the president's mind. There are at least one driver that quit NASCAR, and there are plenty of fans on social media that are saying they don't watch NASCAR.
And
they will not watch NASCAR anymore because of the Confederate flag. And the reason why I brought up the Confederate flag is this. Sadly, there are a lot of people in this country that are defending the Confederate flag. They are going along with what the president said. But hey, we'll take your calls on that. We're also going to take your calls on this New Hampshire radio host who refuses to apologize. She will not apologize. She said, blank you, now get out of my way because I have a country to save. Is that how you save a country? Is that how you're patriotic? Patriotic to me is risking your life for this country. The men and women in uniform, not some dope like this woman who thinks you could attack somebody because they're Mexican and not speaking the language.